YouTube. What up, YouTube? I'm back with another reaction audio of another killer getting interrogated by the police. I don't know the woman's name yet because I didn't watch the video myself, so we watching it together. Fair use is in full effect, YouTube. Let's go.
Mercer County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, I may be just totally off my rocker, but I was just out walking my dog, and I came across some bones that look to me to be human. Maybe they're not, but I was wondering if I could send those pictures to you or email them to you.
Okay, where did you find this at, ma'am?
Right on Coldwater Creek. I was over walking my dog, right where they're doing the construction.
The bones discovered by the woman walking her dog did indeed belong to a human. However, missing were the arms, feet, and head.
Damn.
Police were unable to identify the deceased. 4 years later, DNA analysis led to the discovery that the deceased was Orion Zimmerman, who had disappeared shortly after telling his family that he was moving to Columbus, Ohio.
Let's look at Orion, y'all. Fair use is in full effect, YouTube. That's the person's bones they found. Orion. R.I.P. to Orion. Orion, I guess I'm saying his name right. R.I.P. to him, damn it. Let's go.
Police found that at the time of Ryan's disappearance, He was
Ryan.
living with 3 roommates.
His name is Ryan, damn it.
One roommate, Sarah Buzzard, was brought in for questioning.
Sarah Buzzard.
Whatever you might expect to have happened between Sarah.
Let's look at Sarah's ass that they pulled in for questioning. That's the girl's name, yo. I ain't know her name. Her name is Sarah Buzzard. There goes Sarah. She looks like a damn buzzard. Let's go.
And Ryan, you are probably wrong. This is one of the craziest, most senseless murders you'll ever hear about. It's a complex web of unconventional relationships and illogical thought processes.
Fair use is in full effect.
But don't take my word for it. Let Sarah tell her story.
Let's hear what Sarah got to say.
Listen with suspicion. As even today, no one really knows how much of her story is actually true.
Turn that down.
It was Thursday, January 6th, about 9:10. Detective Walker and Baker going to speak with Miss Sarah Buzzard.
Turn that down a little bit, y'all.
Good morning. How are you doing, Dad? Good for you. People here. We didn't want to be rude and drink our coffee in front of you, so we thought you wanted to free. Thank you so much. Have it if you like. If you don't like coffee, then go ahead and have coffee for so long. It's a special need.
Just turn that down.
If you don't like it, well, you need your water, okay? So you do like the audio.
The audio is messed up.
Until she comes back there, she's gonna get your water. Did you get some rest last night? It all shined up out there. Auto looks a little better, but it's
Spring is here, and this is your.
Hit me with a commercial. Fair use, YouTube. Damn it. Skip that joint. I'm just trying to do this video and get it over with, damn it.
get through this. Obviously, it's not going to be something easy to
We're gonna have about
so we obviously
Sarah Buzzard.
simple and comfortable for you as possible, but also, you know, in your own words. You know, we don't want to question after question after question. So we kind of feel like the simplest we may need to be able to ask you to start kind of from the beginning, maybe when things started with when Jen moved in, that kind of thing, and then just try to tell us how things played out. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I first met Jen around, I think late June-ish, 2014, on a dating site. And Corey, my husband at the time, wasn't going to be involved. He knew about it, but he said that he wouldn't try to insert himself in the relationship. So she and I would meet up for movies at my apartment.
Oh, she
until around
she was gay,
Wednesday,
y'all.
when we became in a sexual relationship. Around that time, I learned from her that she was transgender. She had been on hormone therapy for 6 or 7 years, but it was before she had her surgery. And when Corey found out, he really tried to insert himself into the relationship because he had this personal philosophy that the perfect relationship involved a man, a woman, and a transgendered individual. I don't know where he came up with this. I never shared it. Before Jen and I met in person, I had told her that he wouldn't be involved, so the fact that now he was trying to be involved did not help either of us.
Her voice gonna put me to sleep, damn it.
Had our relationship.
Shit.
Corey was trying to pursue other women without success. I never knew about his conversations because I didn't want to know, and he never volunteered.
Damn, she's a sleepy bitch.
So then around February 2015, Jen went back to her hometown in Massachusetts to do some kind of paperwork, name change or something like that. She didn't really go into details. And then during her absence, that's when Corey started talking to Ryan online. I didn't know about their conversations until around early April-ish, when he told me he wanted Ryan to move in with us so that he could act on this philosophy. And we argued constantly for the entire month because I always felt like he needed this other person to make up for traits that I lacked, and that really, really hurt. And he was expecting me to, I don't know, not fall in love, but become infatuated with Ryan when I first met him, and everything would be perfect.
Sure.
So we argued because he was adamant about it. I did not want it to happen. He didn't like any of the compromises that I was trying to come up with.
Fair use is in full
Finally,
effect. You too.
I came up with a compromise that I still didn't like, but it was the best I could do, which was Ryan would be allowed to stay in our spare bedroom on the condition that he pay rent, purchase his own groceries, and at the end of the 3-month period, he would have to have a job and his own apartment. Because I told Corey that if the relationship he was pursuing with him was going well,
We on these YouTube streets.
Ryan could still be around to see him, but I didn't want him staying in the house the whole time.
That sounds fair.
Yeah, which he agreed to.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to Ryan online once, and I did not like him. He was extremely subservient to the point where I found it extremely annoying. Like I was asking him, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? And he said,
Never know what next person's thinking about y'all. They might act like they like you, but in their head, in their mind, they don't like you. That's why you gotta do stuff by yourself, stay to yourself, and protect your own neck. Damn it. Let's go.
like to draw, and I told him, oh, I have a degree in that, I'd love to help you. He said, oh no, I'll never be good enough. So I understand that his family, I could see why he had that kind of personality, but I didn't like it. And I let Corey know that. I said, I didn't see what he looked like. I don't know if Corey had gotten pictures, but I never got one. And I said, I don't think I'm going to like him when he comes, but I will still give him the chance to at least have somewhere to stay until he gets on his feet. So Jen came back around mid-May 2015, and she kind of officially moved into the living room around either the end of June, early July, something like that, before Ryan came. So she set up her space in the living room. We fashioned a curtain to block it off from the stairwell and the kitchen, so there's a little bit of privacy. And then Ryan came, I don't remember exactly when, but I think it was either the end of July or early August 2015, somewhere in that range. And from that point, he moved into the upstairs spare bedroom. Upstairs, we also had the bedroom that Corey and I used to stay in, adjacent. So his spare room would be here. The bedroom was here. There was a long hallway, the bathroom, and then the office. Okay. So while Ryan was there, he did pay rent. He did purchase his groceries. But I didn't really interact with him if I didn't have to. Naira did not like him. Jen, she did not like him.
Nobody liked him.
She would make comments like, he was a disgusting person, the world would be better off without him. She just absolutely loathed him, mostly because of his personality, but also because he would eavesdrop at the top of the stairs, and she always catch him, and it
Damn.
really bothered her.
Like eavesdrop on
Eavesdrop.
conversation or just in general in your personal space?
If anyone was talking in the kitchen, he would sit at the top of the stairs and try to eavesdrop.
He's trying to figure out what's going on. He knows y'all talking about him. He feels that y'all don't like him. So I want to hear what's going on. Y'all down there talking about me? I want to hear if y'all talking about me. Let's go.
So Naira then kept to herself.
You can call her whatever you want. Whatever you're comfortable with.
So Naira
Dang.
was, she stayed in the living room primarily. Didn't really interact with Corey or Ryan if she could help it, unless we were all.
You detectives need to do better in your interrogation rooms. Y'all need to get them sound pads on the walls. Because once everybody starts talking, it echoes off the walls and it sounds terrible. Y'all get a better recording, detectives, if y'all get soundproof rooms in there when y'all do interrogations. We could hear better. We could do better videos then, damn it. Let's go.
In the kitchen during meal times. I bounced back from staying with her, going to work, and then sometimes staying up in the office with Corey because that's where my desk was. I also tried not to interact with Ryan as much as possible, but I was a little bit more open if he had questions. And then Ryan stayed in his room primarily all the time.
Fair use YouTube is a full effect.
And then Corey would bounce between hanging out in Ryan's room, staying in the office, or going to school. So we all kind of had a uncomfortable but functioning relationship. And then in September, I think it was the 25th. I know it was the weekend when everything happened, and I can't exactly remember if it was a Friday or a Saturday. I think it was Friday the 20th.
Somebody.
It was Friday, bitch. Get it right.
Corey told me that he was meeting a woman at the Greyhound bus station, and that they had reserved a hotel room in downtown Columbus, and they were going to stay there for the whole weekend. And he also told me that
I don't cut you murderers no slack, y'all. That's why I call them bitches and assholes and shit, because that's what they are. Let's go.
didn't want to have anything to do with Ryan anymore. He wasn't what Corey expected. And he had not tried to hold up his end of the deal. He had scheduled several job interviews and never went to a single one because he was convinced that he was just going to get rejected, so why bother? So Corey told me that he did not want Ryan there anymore. He had told him that he wanted him to pack up.
Damn. Nobody liked Ryan, y'all. And Ryan's the one they found his bones with his head cut off, his hands and his feet. They cut his hands off, his feet, and his head. Ryan's ass. They did not like Ryan. Let's go.
And leave before Corey came back. And then he left to go to the hotel. The next day, I don't remember seeing Ryan at all the rest of that day. If I did, it was briefly to go into the kitchen to get something, but he didn't really talk to me. On the morning of the 26th, Naira started voicing some.
They didn't want Ryan, to be identified. That's why they cut his hand, his feet, and his head off. They don't know who the hell he is after that. Let's go.
Plan about killing him, and I did not take her seriously because she would make comments like that sometimes. Like if we were in the parking lot and
because he was all bones, they
woman
couldn't get no
waiting in the car, she would
DNA.
say something like, "Oh, I wonder what would happen if I just shot her in there," or "Oh, I wonder what would happen if we drove the cyclist off the road," and things like that. She never acted on them, so I never took her seriously. So when she started saying things about killing Ryan, I didn't take her seriously.
Did she first say something that morning, or had she said something
She
prior?
may have made passing comments prior, but nothing major. It was less about murder, more about just violence.
Psychologists have a responsibility to assess potential risks amongst their clients, a fact that has led to a large body of literature on the methods of determining whether an individual is likely to engage in violence. As per this research, we know that many individuals who engage in targeted violence do not direct threats to their targets, but communicate their ideas, plans, or intentions to others.
Facts.
Some also keep journals or diaries recording their thoughts and behaviors. For many of these dangerous
We all do
individuals,
that.
the expression
Not the
of violent
journals, but
fantasies
we talk
is
to
often
other
a
people.
precursor to actual violence.
We all are subject to doing that. Talk to other people about, say we had a confrontation, and you think about doing something to somebody. So you figure out it's better to talk it out to somebody else than to do it. So we all talk to somebody. You gotta have somebody to talk to. Shit, to get that shit out. You can't just let that shit build in your brain and you blow up on somebody else.
That's not to say that violent fantasies alone are dangerous, as most people have the occasional violent fantasy. Yet individuals who have frequent violent fantasies are more likely to engage in actual violence. Moreover, individuals high in the personality trait openness, the personality trait related to open-mindedness and novelty seeking, tend to have more frequent violent fantasies. Relevant to this case, openness is also the personality trait you'd expect to be more common in those engaging in polyamorous relationships. As for the possible mechanism, violent fantasies act almost as the opposite to meditative practices, leading to increasingly negative feelings for the person the violent fantasies are aimed at. It's a vicious cycle that leads to more resentment, which in turn fuels more aggressive fantasies toward the person. Naturally, the result is a higher probability of an individual acting on those fantasies. None of this is common knowledge, nor should we have expected Sarah to have known this. However, at some level of human consciousness, we all have a sense for dangerous people. Sarah most likely felt that Jenna was in actual danger, but instead of seeking help, decided to become an accessory to the crime.
Let's go get our skates.
There was I didn't stop. I didn't stop her. I didn't.
What was your problem then?
So I stayed in the office.
What up, Steph?
I didn't know that she had put duct tape over his face until the prosecutors or you or I can't remember. Somebody told me that when they examined the head that there was duct tape on it. So I didn't see her do that. I'm guessing she did it to make sure that he wouldn't breathe if he wasn't fully dead. And then she asked me to. She was the only person who had been there for me through everything that Corey had put me through.
I had to rewind it.
She was the first person that I actually felt like cared about me. Maybe not so much at this point in our relationship, but later on, she was fiercely loyal to me. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't want to lose her. So I agreed that I would help. So in the evening, we waited until Ryan went upstairs to use the bathroom, and then we both went into the office. She had a rag that she dipped in bleach, and she had a bottle of vinegar next to her to add to it when the time came, because I guess they had some kind of chemical reaction and released some kind of poisonous gas. I don't really know, but she did the research for it.
Vinegar and bleach. Bleach and ammonia kills everything. Vinegar is just like ammonia, so she knew what she was doing.
So when Ryan came out, I was waiting in the doorway of the office, waited until he walked down the hall, and then I jumped on him from behind, put him in a headlock, and pulled him down to the floor with my body weight so
Damn.
I could hold him while Naira came in and straddled him and then pressed the rag over his face.
Facts.
Um,
Crazy ass people.
when he started making these guttural gasping noises, Naira let me get out from under him, and I curled up in the office and cried. I didn't want to look at her, him. I wish that I didn't have to do it, but it was done, and I was so scared and horrified.
She
But
choked him out to death.
there was I didn't stop. I didn't stop her. I didn't.
What was your problem?
Yeah. So I stayed in the office. I didn't know that she had put duct tape over his face until the prosecutors or you.
Let's
or I
rewind
can't
a
remember,
little
somebody
bit.
told me that when they examined the head that there was duct tape on it. So I didn't see her do that. Help. So in the evening, we waited until Ryan went upstairs to use the bathroom, and then we both went into the office. She had a rag that she dipped in bleach, and she had a bottle of vinegar next to her to add to it when the time came, because I guess they had some kind of chemical reaction and released some kind of poisonous gas. I don't really know, but she did the research for it. So when Ryan came out, I was waiting in the doorway of the office, waited until he walked down the hall, and then I jumped on him from behind, put him in a headlock, and pulled him down to the floor with my body weight so I could hold him while Naira came in and straddled him and then pressed the rag over his face. When he started making these guttural gasping noises, Naira let me get out from under him, and I curled up in the office and cried. I didn't want to look at her, him. I wish that I didn't have to do it, but it was done, and I was so scared and horrified. But there was I didn't stop. I didn't stop her. I didn't.
What was your problem?
Yeah. So I stayed in the office.
They didn't like Ryan, man.
I didn't know that she had put duct tape over his face until the prosecutors or you, or I can't remember, somebody told me that when they examined the head that there was duct tape on it. So I didn't see her do that. I'm guessing she did it to make sure that he wouldn't breathe if he wasn't fully dead. And then she asked me to help her move him into the bathtub, but I wouldn't do it. I said I didn't want to see his face. I couldn't bring myself to look at him. The only thing I could see were his calves sticking out, and his skin had turned white, so I knew that he had died. So I stayed in the office for a while until she did get him in the bathtub, and she had put a trash bag over his head and severed it, and then put that into the freezer so that she could deal with it later. And she started using the handsaw to take off his hands and feet at the joint.
Damn.
And at that time, because I didn't have to see his face anymore, I came out to help, and she gave me his clothes, instructed me to put it in a trash bag while she worked. And after, I'm not sure how much time passed, it felt like maybe an hour, she started to get intestinal cramps. So she went to lie down and said I had to take over. So I put the hands in one bag, or no, the hands and the feet she told me to put in a bag, and then she also put it in the freezer for later because she said those would be the two big identifying factors and she would have to deal with them separately.
I told you.
So I removed the forearms and the calves at the joints. And it was slow, exhausting work. And I did not work fast enough. Her original idea was to cut up everything into as small, manageable pieces as possible and then dispose of them that way. But we didn't have enough time to do that, so we just had the head, hand and feet, the forearms went in one bag, the calves went in another bag, and then we just had to deal with the torso. Around that time, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 in the morning, I knew that it was starting to get light out. She came back to help and had this black Tupperware bin that she had kept some of her belongings in, emptied that out and brought it upstairs. And we put the torso in it, all of the pieces, and then bags that had the tools, rags, gloves, things like that.
She's telling
And threw
everything.
those in there too.
She's like, hell with it.
I waited while she cleaned the bathroom quickly. She said she would do a more thorough job later. And then we took the bin and put it in the back of Ryan's car. Sometime between, sometime on the 26th in the afternoon, she had apparently talked to a friend online who arranged to purchase Greyhound tickets for us. I didn't know who it was, and I didn't see her do it because she just wanted to keep it on a need-to-know basis. So once we got the bin into Ryan's car, that's when she told me our plan was to drive to Illinois, leave the car somewhere deserted, and use those tickets to come back to Columbus.
The fastest Greyhound bus route from Illinois to Columbus starts in Champaign and takes 13.
When you think of health insurance,
Turn that down.
We would check the news constantly. That's when we found out that the torso was discovered. But as time went on, we didn't see any new news. We started planning for a future instead. And we made a suicide pact that should something go wrong or we get discovered, that she was going to shoot me first and then kill herself, because she said she would rather die than spend her life in prison, especially since at the time she was still anatomically male. So she said that she would probably have to go to the male prison, and that was a death sentence in itself because she was very, very feminine. Mm-hmm. I agreed to the suicide pact, but I was also scared because I'm terrified of death. I did not want to have it go that way. Sure. But as time passed and nothing new happened, I started to feel better, that maybe we'd be able to live a life together.
Hold on. You're not that terrified of death, lady. You just killed somebody. You just murdered somebody. They're dead. You're not that terrified of it. Bitch.
The arrest came, and when I said goodbye to her, I could see it in her face that she knew. And
So is she talking about
when
transgender,
I,
transmission?
the officer that the Marion Police Department told me what happened, I wasn't surprised, but it still hurt. Sure.
I need tissues to be honest.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And that's about it.
So if you don't mind, I have a few questions, okay? Kind of going back a little bit, to the point where you said she would bring it up and talk about it, I guess, and she kind of laid out her plan. What did she explain?
She was trying to figure out the best way to kill him without alerting anyone. She didn't want to shoot him because that would be loud, that would be messy, and it would draw attention. The only other idea she could come up with that would be quiet would be strangulation. And she wanted me to hold Ryan down so that he wouldn't flee or kick her or anything, while she put the rag on his face.
Ryan must have been a weak, timid little guy.
The after part when we needed to dispose of things, either because again she wanted it as a need to know basis or she hadn't figured it out just yet. So she told me that my role was just to pull him down and she would take care of the rest.
Do you feel like when you pulled him down, did he pass when you had your arms around him? Do you feel like he was dead and then she told you could go?
I don't know. I don't have any experience with what the body or what a body does as it's fighting. So I don't know. I know that he was still making noises as I left, but at that point I didn't know if it was him voluntarily doing it or if it was just a reaction. And after I got in the office, I covered my face. I didn't want to look. So anything else was noise for me.
Assuming we could believe Sarah's story of Jenna being the main actor in this murder,
Commonly said things like, he's a disgusting human being, or the world would be better off without him, but she didn't actually say things like, I wonder what would happen if I killed him until that day.
The day that happened. Okay. You had mentioned the bleach and vinegar on the rag. Okay. And then mentioned something different was put into the pot.
Lye, some kind of lye mixture.
Okay. And is that something you would have had on hand, or did she go out and purchase?
That she did purchase. The head in the freezer didn't.
She wanted to get rid of Ryan's
draw
ass.
any attention because she had packed like vegetables and stuff in front of it, so it didn't look like it was anything. She asked me to drive her to Lowe's to purchase the lye, and then brought it back.
Okay. You had also mentioned that she did her research. What do you mean by that?
Researching the chemical reaction. I'm not sure what else. I wasn't either paying attention or actually there when she was doing that research.
Does she have her own computer? Okay, own accounts, that sort of thing? Because as we previously mentioned or spoke, there was different searches and things on your Google. Would that have been you, like searching the jugular, that sort of thing, to know, to make sure you got it right the first time?
I didn't search for it. It may have been something that she searched for, because I would let her borrow my phone if she needed something right away. So I don't recall making the search myself. Because I can't think of any information that I would have gotten from it. So that would be something that she might have done. the car, the troubleshooting with the car, I knew that she did.
She was searching house records. Okay. The days leading up to this, you mentioned that Corey indicated that he, wanted Ryan gone, basically. Was how do you say it? Naira? Naira. I'm sorry, I'm messing up every time. Was she a part of those conversations when he would explain that to you? Did she know that he wanted him out of the picture?
Typically, he wouldn't say it while she was there, but I would relay the information to her, just so everyone was on the same page.
Sure. Okay. Did Corey ever tell you what his issues were with Ryan?
She got that sleepy voice, I told you.
Part of it was he discovered that Ryan had, I think it was genital herpes.
Damn.
I think it was some kind of herpes because, and I don't know exactly what went on between the two of them, so I don't know how he found out or if Ryan told him or something, but that was kind of the last straw for him because Ryan wasn't what he expected or wanted, because he wasn't able to start any sort of hormone therapy or see a psychiatrist for it. He was physically male, very much so, and I don't think that's what Corey expected. I don't know if he had gotten photos of Ryan that made him believe that he looks another way, but it's a combination of Ryan not being what he expected, finding out he had herpes, Ryan never going to his interviews and whatever other conversations they had, all of it culminated into him wanting to go back to pursuing women. And
So Ryan was a homosexual, transgender.
Did you know that Corey was reaching out to other women back on like dating websites trying to find?
Earlier, I didn't. Later on, I didn't see him, but I knew that he was
With
doing
herpes.
that. And he, even before
That's what I'm getting
he
out of
started
it. I
trying
could
to
be
act
wrong.
on
I don't
this
know.
three-person philosophy,
But that's
he
what I
was
got out of it.
pursuing women to try to have a threesome. And he would contact my friends while I was in college.
Bunch of damn freaks.
If they would be
With herpes.
interested in pretending like I was also agreeing to the idea, but never knowing about it. So I lost a lot of friends. People stopped hanging out with me. Roommates would call me furious, and I'd have to tell them this is the first time I've heard of it. So it was something that he always did. But after Ryan, it was more.
What up, Thomas?
Open, I guess. I didn't see the messages. He didn't explicitly tell me about them, but I wasn't surprised if he'd say, I'm meeting this girl.
I gotta look at the chat more. I'll be looking at the chat all the time.
Going back to the items used in sort of, you mentioned she got it all from the house, so like the trash bags, the vacuum seal bag. Do you recall that?
Those I think we got after we moved to our first apartment in Pennsylvania, because it started to smell a little funny, so we needed a better seal. And her mother had needed vacuum bags anyway, so we bought some, took what we needed out of it, and then mailed the rest to her mom.
There's one simple hearing hack anyone can use.
Fair use YouTube. Let's go.
And then the duct tape, as you mentioned, you were told by your attorneys or what have you. And I showed you a picture of the duct tape. It's like an aqua blue. Do you recall having that on here?
That was mine.
That was yours.
She most likely got it out of the office because I used it to
Duct tape.
Notebooks and stuff like that. Sure.
It's good for everything.
So I guess the days leading up, do you recall going with Ryan to Kroger or anything like that, or did you all
That's a
go to
good YouTube
Kroger and
name,
make
Duck
multiple
Cake.
different transactions?
It depended. He did come with us on a few occasions in my car. And once we got there, everybody would kind of split up to get their own things. Corey would go either by himself or with Ryan, and then Ira would come with me. We all did separate transactions.
The reason for this line of questioning stems from Ryan's debit card having large withdrawals and purchases before and after the murder. Sarah's story essentially places all the blame on Jenna, but
On how much cash back you can get, he's had to do it a few times.
Okay, that makes more sense. I appreciate that. Do you recall, I guess, what happened with his debit card or what have you after he and
Naira kept them. I don't know what she did with them. I think she also got maybe like a flash drive or a hard drive. But she kept all of those to herself. I don't know exactly what she took. Yeah, I can't remember what was in the trunk. Bags, boxes, and she took what she wanted and then stored it in her area.
Okay. So you don't know if the debit card would have been used by either of you after he had been deceased for a couple weeks. Okay. Do you recall if anything else was in, I guess the torso was in its own bag? Okay. Was there anything else of his belongings or clothing lines that would have been in there that you recall?
Not in that bag, because it took up most of the bag. I think we had to maybe double bag it, but any small belongings like his clothes would have been put in its own bag because that was something that we could easily put in one of the dumpsters.
What about my understanding is he traveled with gaming system possibly, or even a tablet, anything like that. Do you recall him having those things or what happened with those?
I think he had maybe a Wii U or a 3DS. That was something that Naira kept.
Damn. Kept this shit.
And I don't know what she did with it. I wouldn't be
She pawned that
surprised if
shit.
she sold it because she would buy and sell a lot of electronics and fix them up and then resell them.
Sure.
So I imagine that she did that at some point, but it would have been on her own. The only thing I would have done would be take the box to the post office for her.
When she does those transactions. Okay.
So I remember seeing the Wii U gamepad screen a couple of times, and then I didn't see it again.
Okay. You doing okay?
Yeah.
I know we're asking questions, so I apologize.
It's hard reliving this over and over and over.
You shouldn't have did it then.
Let's try to get everything.
Dumb bitch.
Over and over. So I think I have to do it again.
Dumbass
with
bitch.
sentencing.
Did all that for what? Now your ass is in
Very
prison.
emotionally drained having to do this over and over.
Well, unfortunately.
Ryan's gonna be in your head forever.
To get it all out. The more
In prison.
that offers
You're gonna think about Ryan.
As with me in past circumstances, so.
You're gonna think about Ryan every day
Um,
in that damn prison cell, lady.
you mentioned that, Naira kept a hard drive. Would that have included like a tablet or a computer or something, or?
You didn't like Ryan. You thought y'all was gonna get rid of him by killing him, but you did.
The external hard drive. I did let Ryan borrow either.
Ryan's gonna live
my
forever.
old laptop. I can't remember which. Maybe. I can't remember if I still had my old laptop or if I had given that to someone, but he did borrow something to use to communicate with friends, family, or be online,
Sure.
whatever.
Okay. Do you recall, searching how to clear or wipe like an ACES tablet?
That would have been something that Naira would have already known how to do.
Okay. Okay. Do you recall anything about getting on any of Ryan's accounts, like around that time frame, and speaking with one of his friends on, I guess it'd be Steam or the Google Chat?
I didn't. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if that was something that Naira could do. She was very, very tech savvy.
Naya did
So
every damn
if
thing,
she
bitch.
did that. I
Stupid
wasn't
bitch.
there to see it, so she may have done it while I was at work or something. But it doesn't surprise me to hear that something like that might have happened.
Do you recall any of Ryan's friends reaching out, asking?
She don't recall a damn thing.
I mean, after he was dead.
No.
Okay. And speaking of work, would you have been at work this weekend and come home early around lunchtime or anything, or?
I don't think so. I wouldn't have come home during the break because it was only half an hour and it takes, I think like 20 minutes to get from Barnes and Noble to my apartment. The only day that I think I could have worked might have been on the 25th. But
That bitch don't recall nothing.
I know I definitely didn't on that Saturday and Sunday because
You orange suit wearing bitch.
everything the whole time, and I don't know if I called off work. I don't think I did. If I did, it would have been that Sunday when we came back early in the morning, or the day after, but I can't.
She gonna get her ass whooped in prison.
But I do know that on at least the 26th and
They're gonna whoop her ass in prison
27th,
just because of the way she talk.
I wasn't scheduled.
The irritating ass voice.
Okay.
She gonna get beat up.
Just so I understand.
Allegedly, you too.
On the 25th is when Corey would have went to meet the Lord.
That's my opinion.
Okay. Did he drive there himself? Did anybody bring him there? So
I can't remember if I had given him a ride there or if he.
She can't recall a damn thing. Look, listen to her.
Because I know on
But she can
that
remember
one
killing the
instance,
bull.
I gave him a ride, and another time he went by.
She
himself.
remembers that part.
And I get that mixed
Cutting
up.
the heads off and all that. She remembers that.
okay, so he went on the 25th, and then Saturday the 26th. When did I guess the plan start playing out?
When we woke up, maybe it was like 10:30, 11, somewhere in the late afternoon, late morning, early afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were just relaxing in bed, and that's when she started thinking out loud about those things, and I was kind of half asleep, so it was just more of her ramblings to me. It really wasn't until after I had finished talking to Ryan that.
And this is a Karen. She looks just like a damn Karen.
Worrisome because
A murdering ass Karen.
before it would have just been like really basic info, like, oh, we kill him and cut him up and throw him somewhere, and then that was the end. But when she started going into the details,
She remembers everything about her.
we would need to remove this first and that, and then we would have to do this, that it started becoming less like her other comments and more something
Her, him, whatever it is.
I had experienced.
YouTube. And that's another reaction audio of a dumb killer. Thought she was gonna get away with it. The moral to the story is protect your neck. Don't trust nobody. And I'm out.